Well, hello, friends. Tony Howard here with Astrology University, and I'd like to invite you to our next summit, Astrology and Relationships, Exploring Our Connections. The summit will be broadcast live on April 25th and 26th, 2020, and it is free to watch live. Head over to astrologyuniversity.com/summit to sign up. And to tell you a little bit more about the summit, I have one of our 12 amazing speakers, Jessica Lanyadoo, with me here today. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, it's great to have you here. And Jessica's going to be doing something really special for us at the summit. She's going to be doing an Ask Me Anything session where it's basically an hour-long Q&A session where you can log in and ask her just about anything. But Jessica, tell us a little bit about what the intention is for your time with the summit.
My intention for the time is to be able to kind of offer support on a lot of things. If you are learning stuff in the course of the summit and you're like, wait a second, I want to ask this like technical question, throw my way. If you have questions about birth charts that you're working on, your own birth chart, if you have questions about transits that you're going through, if you have questions about basically anything within your astrological journey, throw my way. What I can't do during this particular AMA is answer questions about your whole birth chart because there won't be a way for you to show me your whole birth chart. And we want to be able to keep like a flow going where I answer as many questions that are applicable to as many people as possible. So I basically just want to answer as many questions as I can and hopefully teach and interpret in equal measure.
Thanks. And so what would make a good question? I mean, the focus of our summit is on relationships, but I'm assuming that if people color outside the lines a little bit, that won't be too bad. But what would make a good question for you? Maybe you could give us an example of what somebody could ask, and then maybe even an example of what would be a bad question.
A bad question would be, should I stay with my boyfriend? I'm a Taurus, he's a Capricorn. That's a bad question. A good question is there value to sun-sign compatibility? That would be a good question, which is kind of like a different version of that question, right? It's a more technical version of that question. If you're looking to ask me a question that is about yourself and your own birth chart or a chart that you're working with, the best way to ask that question is a couple things. Know the planet, the house it's in, and the sign, and be willing to kind of communicate that, be ready to communicate that, but don't dump a ton of data in the question that is not necessarily relevant to that question, because that'll just kind of make it harder to choose your questions. There'll be a lot of questions. Really, the thing about, and please tell me, Tony, if I'm wrong, but yeah, I did that for you, Virgo.
Jessica does know how to spell it, turns out. Yes.
I do. But it's funny. It's like a double funny because it's not, I spelled it wrong. And also it would just be like crinkles in your brain. Yeah. So what my thought is, sorry, I threw the whole thing off. But my thought is that I want to be able to support as many people as possible in learning astrology. So there's kind of like sky's the limit about what you can ask, as long as your question doesn't require the interpretation of a whole birth chart. But I wonder if you have any kind of tips and tricks for the people.
Well, we've done a couple of AMAs with you already, and one of the things I found is that sometimes people will type in the data, the degrees for 10 planets, right? So they'll go Sun through Pluto, and they'll type everything in, and they'll ask their question. That's not actually different than popping your chart up, which we can't do, because as you can imagine, like just looking at a sea of numbers and then trying to do a full interpretation on the fly, it's not that it's difficult to do, but it's also not totally appropriate, because you really want the time and space to be able to address those kind of questions as an astrologer and give good advice and give sound practical advice. So keeping
also the houses.
Come again?
It's also missing the houses. I mean,
exactly.
There's that the data dump isn't a great strategy, but what it does show is that the person doing it knows enough about the chart to be able to ask an astrologically informed question, which I think is a really exciting thing. And I bet a lot of people at the summit are going to have some measure of information about their birth chart, which we're very excited about.
Yes, definitely. And I think there are some general kinds of questions that Jessica would totally be able to answer, like um, this planet is going through my seventh house right now, and it's conjunct this planet in the seventh house, and I'm having this kind of problem in my relationship right now. Um, that would be a question that she could totally take. So just try to think about your questions before you show up. At these AMA sessions, we get a ton of questions. So come prepared with your question. Like look at your chart, formulate your question, and then try to simplify it in that kind of way. And then my other advice to you is pop your question in right as soon as you log in, because there are so many people, we don't always have time to get to all of them.
Agreed. And also, just in case you didn't know, I'm a Capricorn. So if you want to bullet point a thing, I love that. Some people don't like a bullet point. I just feel so appreciative of like, just give me the highlights, bro. Not to make it, boyish. Also, it's I love just talking about all things related to astrology and relationship astrology, and just to like wrap it into like what is happening now. We're all going through this unprecedented amount of stress, and it is placing greater pressure on our existing relationships, but it's also placing a greater pressure on our relationship to ourselves, which is essentially the foundation to our relationships to others, whether they're professional, platonic, or romantic. And so I want to urge you to think about it that way too. As you're thinking about what questions might I ask Jessica, your relationship to yourself as a foundation of how you relate to others is a really valuable point of inquiry. I would say the most valuable point of inquiry. And so feel free to drum up questions that are, again, succinct, to the point, and allow me to help you help you.
Beautiful. Well, thanks, Jessica. And thanks so much for sharing your time with folks in advance. And if you would like to sign up, head over to astrologyuniversity.com/summit. All you have to do is type in your email address and name to sign up, and we'll send you all the details by email. Our system is automated, so if you don't get an email from us right away, wait like 5 minutes. But if you don't get anything, number one, check your spam folder. 9 times out of 10, that's where our email will be. If you still don't have anything, email us help@astrologyuniversity.com, because something went wrong. Maybe you mistyped your email address when you were signing up, or maybe your email is blocking our emails or something like that. So know that you should get instructions right away. And if you don't, there's something wrong. So if you are watching this video after the fact and you're like, darn, I really wanted to catch that, we have something called the All Access Pass, where you can purchase all the summit recordings. You won't be able to ask Jessica a question live, of course, at that point, but you can watch the answers to all the other questions, and people always report that that's almost just as valuable as being able to ask your own question. And know that you'll also be supporting our mission of making the summit free to watch for those who can't afford to pay. And we have people joining us from in impoverished situations and impoverished countries. And this is one of the reasons why we do our best to make the summit free to watch live, so that people can enjoy the benefit of this really quality astrological teaching. I've had people say to us at the summits, wow, this is a little better than most of the stuff I see on YouTube. And no dissing astrologers on YouTube. There's some amazing astrologers on YouTube, but as you know, on YouTube, anybody can be on YouTube. So there's a wide variety of quality there. And what you're gonna get here at the summit is all really high quality stuff. So I hope you can join us. And it's April 25th and 26th. And Jessica, you're going to be joining folks on Saturday, I believe, at 3 p.m.
Oh, so, I thought it was 5.
5 p.m. Thank you. And that's Pacific time. And if you are in a different time zone, we have a little handy link that you can click to find out what time zone it is for you. So head over to the Summit homepage and you'll find all the deets. So thanks for joining us today, Jessica.
Thanks for having me. Can't wait to do it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see some of you at the summit. So until then, take good care.
You too. Bye.